All right, today's video is gonna be a little different. We're gonna be reading community hot takes, though I do feel as though a lot of people just kind of don't get what a hot take is supposed to be, so we're gonna call it community takes. But before we do that, you understand that the algorithm sucks ass, correct? So I'm gonna need you to go ahead and do your part. Like the video, dweeb. And for those of you that are not regulars on the channel, you can drop it whenever. By the way, I am going to keep things anonymous. I know that the Danny's World fandom isn't really good when it comes to hot takes or criticism, so just to avoid possible issues, I will cover the profile picture as well as the username. All right, user says, only reason the game is in alpha is to lower the expectations, so if someone criticizes the game, someone could just say, it's in alpha. I'm not sure if I would agree. I think that the game is an alpha because it really is just an alpha game. I mean, there's nothing to it. It's very bare bones if you really think about it. I doubt they had the intention of calling it alpha because they wanted to avoid criticism. Though, I do see people using that as a tactic, though. Can't tell you the amount of times I criticized this game and I got met with comments saying, it's alpha, it's alpha. So, no doubt about it, I think this is partially true. This user says, most people don't know how to actually play their characters and then complain about them being ass. Yeah, I would kind of agree. I think there are aspects to a character being ass, though. For example, I could play Scraps if I really wanted to, right? I could make it to floor 20 if I really had the time and I tried. But that character is just not comparable to, say, someone like Gordy. So yes, while it is the player and not the tune, you do got to keep in mind that just some tunes are better than others. So yeah, another one I partially agree. Okay, this user makes a good point. The extra rows on the sticker wheel should be free, especially because of the new chat restrictions, potentially making players unable to chat to each other. I think I would agree with that. The only issue is, well, how would you compensate the people who have already bought the wheel? So either you give them iCore or maybe even extra wheel slots. But yeah, I do think so. Yeah, absolutely. But they also got to bypass the chat problem too, so that's another issue. So regardless of how many stickers you have, I don't really think it's going to be that beneficial. Not going to do that much, but I do agree though. This user says, every time there is a new gameplay mechanic, the fandom will complain about it being quote unquote too hard, even though it's supposed to be a survival game. That's the issue. The fandom doesn't treat it like a survival game. They treat it like a collection / romance game. They don't view it as a survival. I'm sorry. I mean, they even play in ways that remove the idea of survivability, aka distractors. So yeah, I agree. Absolutely. This user says, Flutters and Rudy's Dash should work on treadmills. I would say I would agree. That should be a given option. The only issue is, why would you use it, right? Me personally, even if it was allowed, I wouldn't really use it. I would have to be in the safest of circumstances. I'd rather save that dash for when I really need to escape a twisted. You know what I mean? But overall, I don't see why that option is even limited. So yeah, I agree. Oh, dude. Okay. This user says, how I play those horrible skin and optimization updates. 1, I enter the game. 2, I buy all the skins from the shop. 3, I go into roleplay and check out animations. 4, I quit and only come back in the next update. Yeah, that explains why so many players, they jump into the game, right? We're talking about like 200K, and then out of nowhere, the next following day, we're back at like 80 or something. I think she puts too much emphasis on the animations. I'm not gonna lie. I don't care how pretty they are, dude. Realistically, do you even think about them while you're playing the game? I don't. I personally don't. I'd rather she had just optimized the tunes, right? With regards to their models, and then just keep the animations the same. I truly don't care, man. Like, everyone freaked out about Barnaby, oh, Barnaby's in Finn, this is crazy, and then the next following day, 0, zip, crickets, because it's really not that important. This user says, Danny's World gets an insane amount of glaze from the community when it comes to updates that only feature skins and no gameplay whatsoever. Yeah, honestly, that is true. I mean, when the treadmill came out, now to be fair, right, the treadmill had its problems when it first came out, right, but nobody was excited for the treadmill, except for me, of course. And then when the dial update came out, no one was excited for, and again, to be fair, the circle machine and the iCore leak and Brusher herself, pretty bad. But everyone just focused in on dial. And I'm not even just talking about the boss floor, Twisted Dial. That was a part of it for sure, absolutely. I love that floor. But more so the shop, the merchant, they focused in on that. I do agree wholeheartedly with you. Oh, wow. Box's ability should be per machine and not depending on other players. I agree. I've had this comment before on my Boxing video, and I think that would be for the best, because the reality is, I mean, most players on Danny's World are just so bad. They die immediately. You get nerfed by people who leave the game. You get nerfed by people who die in stupid ways. I think it should be machine dependent. Absolutely. He's an extractor after all. I think that works perfectly. Yeah. This one says, some fans are making better concepts for gameplay than actual developers. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. No doubt about it. I've seen so many good ideas, and I would think, oh, maybe it will be added to the game, only for the thing to be added. Circle machine, iCore leak, you know? Damn, man. I agree. This one says, Danny's World shouldn't be classified as horror. Yeah, I agree, obviously. I mean, even Danny's World doesn't classify itself as horror anymore. Even though in the tutorial it says mascot horror, but we got Care Bears, dude. It's actually really sad. I really wish they went the horror route. I'm glad the fan games are, though. Oh, here we go. This user says, I think some people become too obsessive with the characters to the point it's concerning and annoying sometimes. I wouldn't even say sometimes, dude. It happens all the time. Yeah, no, I agree, man. Holy. I've literally seen people treat these characters as though they were real, like family members. If you joke about a character being fat, or a character who has, like, I don't know, long ears, or you know, goobs, goofy arms, or whatever, man, just pick whatever, accent being old, etc. They will literally act as though you just offended an IRL person. It's absolutely bonkers and, quite frankly, mentally deranged. Yeah, we call that parasocial behavior. Ah, this user. Nice profile picture. Wish I could say what it was, but I don't want to hint at anything. Cosmo and Sprout do not need another matching skin, and it's also obvious Quell heavily favors them because you can't use the excuses of them being best friends when almost no other friends in the game have gotten matching skins. Toodles and Gordy should have gotten the matching skin in Halloween because they're best friends. I mean, there are some matching skins. I think you have Poppy and Boxing, right? But yeah, they are very few in between. I'm not sure if it's favoritism. I more so think it's just her riding the niche as much as possible. I don't know why, man. But yeah, it is a little boring when they get matching skins like all the time. I mean, even the Star Time and the Snow Time skins, yeah, sure, they're not an exact match, but the fact that Cosmo got one, it's just insane, dude. It's the same reason why people who maybe don't pay attention to the lore think they're not individualistic. But yeah, overall, I agree. All right, this guy says, people only think tunes like Gordy are OP because most of the other tunes are mid. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, dude. I mean, I hate to break it, but yeah, there's a lot of tunes that just don't help with the endeavor of reaching higher floors. Like, their gimmicks are self-centered. Maybe their stats don't help either. A good tune, as an example, would be Scraps. She literally brings nothing to the table, dude. Yeah, if they just focused on those mid and terrible tunes, then yeah, Gordy wouldn't have the appearance of being so overpowered. Yeah, it's mostly the game's fault, though, at the end of the day. But you gotta admit, those abilities that help other tunes, those stats, I mean, dude, he is crazy. Okay, now this one, oh my goodness, dude, this is an actual hot take. Like, holy, dude. This one says, Rox caring more about the gameplay of Danny's World rather than Quella's crazy work, not gonna lie. Yo, now that's a hot take. Damn. See, the thing when it comes to developing is that what a lot of developers just don't get, man, is that you gotta mostly balance things, okay? You gotta work on the aesthetic as well as, well, the main attraction, right? Which should be the gameplay, but currently it's not. And depending on where the community is at too, if let's say they want more gameplay, then I think you should make it where the focus is gameplay. And if it's the other way around, then you should do that too. It's just a matter of looking at the environment around you and responding accordingly, but mostly focusing on that sweet 50-50 spot. But they're in alpha. They're literally in alpha. So I would think that most of it should be catered towards gameplay, but I don't know what she's doing, man. I seriously don't. Yeah, and the fact that Rox, dude, the fact that his entire presentation was focused on the gameplay was absolutely bonkers to me. Whether you agreed with the ideas or not, it doesn't really matter. I mean, the user's right here. The fact that he cares more about the gameplay, dude, that is crazy. Wow. I think that's the #1 hot take so far. This guy says, skill check candy and protein bars are very good and underrated items for their tier. It's uncommon for those who forgot. Yeah, no, I agree. Absolutely. Skill check candy, if you get multiple of them, I mean, you're raising your percentage crazy amounts. Hell, you could even make up for it as opposed to participation award. And protein bars are very good. Absolutely, man. The amount of stamina you regenerate after eating one and taking cover, it's crazy. I would say they're underrated, absolutely, because what people do is they just eat it for tapes. So yeah, I actually would agree with you. I mean, I preserve my protein bars and my skill check candies, so I agree with you. This user says, if devs put at least half the effort they put into skins to actual gameplay development, the game would have left the alpha stage a long time ago. Yeah, we would be in beta right now, wouldn't we? Or hell, we would have actually gotten maybe a decent release, but my goodness, dude. Yeah, I agree. One of the issues is that when you're developing, man, please, for goodness sakes, if you're someone who's seeking to create an inspired game like Danny's World, I beg of you, dude, please focus on the gameplay. All right, if you're an alpha, your priority should be to get out of the alpha state. Make a full game, okay? Cosmetics, they're just there for end game purposes, okay? They're just there to make the game look pretty, all right? So please, I beg of you, focus on that gameplay. Do not do the holiday stuff because you will entrap yourself. I can name several games like Tower Heroes, Dandy's World. Actually, the rest of it would be other tower defense games. But like, dude, they feel like they never move because, again, they prioritize these events, man. And they take a lot of time. So please, man, unless it doesn't affect your development speed, then sure, go for it. But if you can't do that, then please do not make events. All right? This user says, Twisted should be more interesting rather than, I'm faster than the average tune. I agree. For example, an idea I had to make Shelly more threatening is she marks 3 patrol points as her territory, boosting speed for any Twisted in it, including herself. Well, doesn't that work on speed though? I mean, she's a support, but another idea is that she stalks the first tune she sees, intentionally hiding behind walls that the targeted tune is approaching. This makes her both a support to her Twisted allies while equally being dangerous on her own. The issue from a development standpoint is you have to create these, well, checkpoints for her to hide behind walls. I mean, you gotta keep in mind, there's several different maps, so yeah, that's gonna be tough to code, man. Even the first one, like 3 patrol points, you gotta individually go for each map and put 3 points. I'm sorry, dude, but from a development standpoint, that's a little too much. Like, I mean, she would have to have a team for that, you know? But overall, I do agree with the premise that Twisted should be more interesting than just being, I'm fast, blah, blah, blah. I agree. They do have some interesting ones, though. Like Gigi, she steals your items. You have V, which focuses on the idea of being faster, but she slows you down. You got Astro, who depletes your stamina and so forth. I would love if there was an idea of a Twisted that was like on the walls, you know, or in the ceilings. Because right now, currently in the game, you only focus on looking left and right. But imagine if you had to worry about looking up. That's crazy. I would love that. This user says, Bobette should have gotten a different ability in general. It was supposed to be a rework, yet only Ginger got reworked, while Bobette just got a stupid timer added to her ability. But at least they made the passive good. Yeah, dude, it still has the same issues as the year prior. I really would have loved the idea if it worked like an actual present, right? Where she hides, maybe other tunes can hide in there, and depending on like the amount of tunes that are there, the present explodes, right? And then it releases all these items, so it fits her character as being like this version of Santa Claus, and everyone gets like invincibility for 2 seconds, maybe even a little bit of a speed boost because, you know, her ring. So actually, that shouldn't even be part of that, but you get what I mean. All right, this user says, hot take, meds and bans should be given to everyone regardless of a healer. The heal's gonna go into someone else anyways. I would say if you're not in a team-oriented game, then yeah, that's perfectly fine. I would agree. I mean, this is mostly in reference to Cosmo and Ginger prior to rework, but I would say if Cosmo's healing constantly, you know, and he's sacrificing his HP, it wouldn't hurt to give him the bandages and medkits, to be quite honest with you. But if he's full hearts, and let's say there's someone that's missing 2 and they find the medkit and they use it, that's perfectly fine, dude. I think this is circumstantial, but I would overall agree. Yeah, medkits and bandages, they don't have your name on it. This one says the devs are caring more about making skins than actually improving the gameplay. Yep, I agree. Everyone can kind of see that so far. This one says they should add more in-game music, which will make it more fun and can make it more quote-unquote horror. just like how some horror movies are creepy just because of the music. I'm so shocked that to this day, I'm really glad you mentioned this, user, because holy man, nobody talks about this enough. Like, why do we not have a composer yet? Dolly's Factory has one. Yeah, this game keeps using like the free audio library stuff, and it's just annoying, guy. I remember this YouTuber made some music for the game too. It was for the Easter event. They didn't like the idea that the Easter floor had no music, so he just made his own. I really liked it. I'm surprised this doesn't have that many likes. I mean, absolutely, I agree with you. This one says, Ice Floor should not leave the game. We finally have a new feature for the gameplay, but it's just temporary. What a shame. I agree. The only issue is that, man, people are gonna cry all the time, especially distractors. They really think they own the game. It sucks, man. But yeah, I overall agree, because then we're just gonna go back to the old, method. All right, we'll make this the last one. It's a pretty big one, so this user says this one turns out to be a big one, so strap in. A, distractors should not be a thing in this game. Danny's World advertises itself as a survival horror game. Being able to outrun and distract the threats literally makes it lose the possibility of being quote-unquote horror, and makes the survival aspect a cakewalk if you have someone decent enough at walking in circles. Plus, it makes the average player too reliant on distractors, and therefore don't learn basic mechanics like how to make a twisted lose line of sight from you. So let's just get rid of the clear problem and make most twists faster than the player. That's definitely a hot take. Like, absolutely. You would be surprised how many people would be against that idea. Yeah, I mean, listen, dude. I do believe in liberties and gaming liberties, right? Because developers will make a game in a way that it's supposed to be played, and then players can just find ways to work with the game outside of that. And I think that's fine. But when it's become the major thing, and I'm going to be quite frank with you, distracting is like an overpowered, broken idea. Like this user said, when you take away the danger, it makes the horror aspect really non-existent, and survival, well, dude, you're just clocking into work, basically. So yeah, I would highly agree with your point A there. Absolutely. That's definitely a hot take for sure. B, there shouldn't be trinkets that increase extraction speed and maybe even skill check too. They're all immediate S tier and causes for most people who are decent to the game to literally not try anything else unless you're either distracting or doing a quest or going out of your way to try different builds. Obviously, in compensation, they should either have less machines per floor or add a mechanic that makes going through the floors faster, like that more than one player can work on a single machine. That one's another hot take. I just think we need a third trinket slot. I mean, it would just be very befitting. Make it so that you could only equip 2 main trinkets, so that would be the extraction and movement speed, and then after that, you're not allowed to equip anything else. So for the third trinket slot, it has to be something outside of those 2 tabs. That's just me personally, but yeah, I could see what you're thinking here. Yeah, it does. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. The extraction and skill check trinkets just take up the show, and they do. You try playing without those, and you really feel the heaviness of how slow the game is. Overall, I agree with the concept of what needs to be done, but I don't know if this is the way. But yeah. Nice hot take there for B. C, quests are good in concept, but suck in execution. I agree. Yeah, absolutely. My main complaint are the C 8 tune X times while playing as 8 tune. Yeah, no, everyone hated that. I would agree with that. Absolutely. They're too reliant on RNG/luck and possibly force you to play a tune you maybe don't like or aren't in the mood to play with for hours or days. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, Cole, dude, it was so miserable. I didn't even bother with Cole. Even Bobette, well, she's absolutely tolerable. I got so sick of it. A simple fix, in my opinion, would be to decrease the amount of times you have to see the tune, depending on their rarity, and remove the need to find them with a specific tune. Let players use the tune they want and not get punished for it. Dude, that board is a lie, by the way. Yeah. I honestly like the idea where, oh, Rudy appears on floor 5, Ginger on floor 10, Cole on floor 15, and then Bobette on floor 20. That would be very nice. They just gotta do something to remove the RNG aspect, for sure. D, please, no more tunes for a while. We already have a lot, and there are only so many ways you can make them unique through their stats and not power creep other abilities. I agree, by the way, wholeheartedly. Can we get a bit more than 1 droplet of new content every blue moon? And in lore reason, sure, the Garden View might have been popular, but there's just No way they had close to 100 living tunes just running around, right? Yeah, I would agree with D. Not just because I don't want more tunes or the idea of power creepy, because look, it's kind of inevitable, but at the same time, they have so many of them, and they really need to prioritize on reworking them, working on their lore, etc. I think the number that we have is fine, dude. It's too much, and too many of them are mid. So yeah, I agree. Okay, well, that's pretty much it, man. I think the overall vibe that I'm getting from the comments is that people really want the gameplay to be focused on, and there's a little bit of hate towards the fandom, and I can't really blame them. I just hope that the year 2026 can really take these comments into account and prioritize the gameplay, because we really need it, man. The idea of merch, skins, it's so tiring, and I really hate the fact that you haven't seen major shifts in the game since release, to be quite frank with you. And please don't bring up, Dial update. Dial the boss was the only good part about that. Brusha sucked, iCore sucked, Circle Machine sucked. Treadmill, it had a horrible start, you know. They made it slow, but they fixed that. They made it so that it only spawns on 4 or 5 plus, and it's got a 1 in 3 chance of spawning, because for some reason they also consider the Circle Machine to really be its own machine, when in reality it's a skill check machine. But yeah, dude, since then, with the exception of Icy Floor, which is temporary, you know, we got nothing essentially. Let's just hope that 2026 is the year that we see positive comments, right, about the game, because they actually took it into account and they really prioritize the gameplay. I hope that we could do that. So instead of a hot take video, we get like a positive take video or something, but I'm not all too sure. I don't know. Well, with that, I'm going to be calling it here. Goodbye.